the consent calendar is approved. Moving to the discussion of the deferred consent items, I will take up consent item number 4 first. And Supervisor Rutherford, I believe that you deferred that item for discussion.
I did. Thank you, Madam Chair. Supervisor Ovid and I are looking for consensus from the board today to direct staff to craft a measure that could be placed on the June ballot that would require voter approval for any future increases to county employee pensions. There was a little misstatement in one of the newspaper articles this morning, so I do want to be clear that this is just pensions, not any other aspect of employee benefit packages. The idea here is that we all know there have been a lot of issues with public pensions recently. We all appreciate the employees who do the public's work, and we are grateful for their service and believe that they are deserving of a fair pension. It's also incumbent upon us as elected leaders to make sure that a pension system is sustainable and solvent, and that the budget continues to allow for us to provide the core government services that the public expects when they pay taxes. We have some challenges in that regard, because currently the San Bernardino County Employees Retirement Association is underfunded by $1.7 billion. For every dollar we pay in employee salaries, general employee salaries in this county, we pay 27 cents toward pension. For every dollar salary we pay for a safety employee, 47 cents goes to pension. That's the employee plus employer contribution rates. That's an incredible amount of money being obligated for future residents of this county to pay. Because when so many of these pensions will be paid out, we won't be sitting up here anymore. It'll be a whole new set of county supervisors. When you think about that 80% of our budget right now goes to employee costs, and when you hear figures like 27 and 47 cents on every dollar is going toward pension costs, you can see how that becomes a heavy, heavy lift for the taxpayers. Obligations for pensions through California courts are vested. So when an employee is hired, if they're hired at the age of 21, the pension that they're promised on that date goes with them for the rest of their lives. So when they start drawing on that pension at 55, 60, 65, again, the people who hired them, long gone. Taxpayers still on the hook for that bill. That makes pensions a very unique part of a public agency budget. And I believe that uniqueness qualifies the voters to make the decision about whether they want to be on the hook for any increases. Again, there's nothing in this measure that touches any benefit currently given to a county employee. There's no effort to reduce those pensions in this measure. This is simply saying that voters recognize that what happened in the last boom cycle was problematic, in that when times were good and flush, when the market was going up, politicians felt generous with your money and obligated you to pay additional pension benefits in the future. That could easily happen again. I think we'd all love to see a boom again, and we'd all love to see the market go skyrocketing again. But we also need to learn the lessons from what caused the crash. And part of that was being overgenerous in a lot of ways, all of us personally and publicly. So if there is another boom time, and if through collective bargaining, the Board of Supervisors and employee unions get to the point where they think pension increases are warranted, they simply have to take that case to the voters and let the taxpayers of this county agree or disagree that those increases are warranted and commit that they're willing to pay those years out. So that's all this does. It doesn't touch any existing pension benefits. It doesn't take away power from the Board of Supervisors. The board still has to do the negotiations with the employee unions and still has to put a measure on the ballot and make the case to the voters why those increases are warranted. This is simply insurance for the taxpayers, since they'll be footing this bill long after the politicians and, frankly, the union negotiators are out of the picture. So Supervisor Ovett and I would ask for our colleagues' consensus, and also note that this has happened several other places in the state. The counties of Orange, Riverside, San Francisco, and the city of San Diego all require this. So if you look around at our colleagues and our neighbors in Southern California, they're getting a say on future employee benefits too. And that's why I think it is fair and right that we do this at this time in San Bernardino County. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Rutherford. Other comments?
Madam Chair, if I might.
Please.
Thank you, and thank you to Supervisor Rutherford for giving me the opportunity to be a co